Assalamualaikum. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Boleh dengar suara saya? Terutama kepada speaker kita. Boleh dengar suara saya Dr. Wan?
Jelas, jelas.
Jelas ya? Alright,
Ya.
okay. Terima kasih. Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat sejahtera, selamat pagi diucapkan kepada seluruh warga perpustakaan dan juga jika ada yang bukan dari perpustakaan pun, terima kasih kerana sudi untuk join session kita pada pagi inilah. Okay, selamat datang ke PTA Research Webinar Anjuran Perpustakaan Tengku Anis, YBhg Cawangan Kelantan. Alhamdulillah pada pagi ini kita sangat bertuah dapat mendengar dan berkongsi ilmu mengenai application of data mining techniques in library services. Saya difahamkan ada juga yang bukan daripada library yang sudi untuk join kita pada pagi ini. InsyaAllah kita punya speaker akan kupaskan tak tertakluk kepada library services sahaja. Alright. Okay, disclaimer yang saya nak bacakan di sini sangat-sangat penting ya. Alright, maklumat yang disampaikan dalam program ini adalah bertujuan untuk pembudayaan ilmu sahaja. Ianya adalah pendapat dan komen peribadi penceramah dan bukan pendirian rasmi universiti. Pihak universiti tidak akan bertanggungjawab mengenai komen dan pendapat yang dikeluarkan atau yang disampaikan. Alright. Okey, sebelum itu suka saya ingin maklumkan objektif kepada penganjuran PTA research dan webinar pada kali ini. Yang pertama iaitu meningkatkan kefahaman dan menggalakkan sesi pencemahan ilmu dan dalam setiap topik dibentangkan. Yang kedua adalah untuk mendukung peranan perpustakaan sebagai pusat perkembangan ilmu dan yang ketiga adalah untuk mendekatkan warga YBhg di kalangan warga penyelidik, para akademia dan juga melalui pelbagai kaedah dan teknologi yang membantu penghasilan penyelidikan dan penulisan artikel ilmiah yang berimpak tinggi. Okey, untuk maklumat para viewers di luar sana juga, okey, program PTA Research Webinar juga adalah salah satu program knowledge sharing sebenarnya yang melibatkan panel jemputan yang terpilih yang akan mengupaskan ataupun teknologi yang terkini dalam bidang pendidikan, terutamanya yang melibatkan teknologi baru yang berkaitan dengan analisa data, kaedah baru dalam penghasilan penulisan yang berimpak tinggi. Alright, first of all, let me introduce you to our distinguished speaker for today's session. Okay, welcome Associate Professor Dr. Fairos Yaacob. Alright, she is an Associate Professor in Mathematical Sciences Study, College of Computing, Informatics and Mathematics, University Technology Mara, UITM. Alright, she joined the department in 2002 as a faculty member and she has been serving the department since then. Alright, she was elected as Associate Fellow of Institute for Big Data Analytics and Artificial Intelligence, Malaysia. Alright, she has a basic statistics degree from UITM, Master of Science in Statistics from UKM, and PhD in Statistics from UITM. Alright, her area of research interest focus on statistical modeling and in dengue disease and road accidents. In addition to her passions in modeling, count data, her interest also in data mining and machine learning. Alright, she has published papers in various well-known ISI journals with high impact factors such as Scientific Reports, Travel Medicine, Infectious Disease, and other papers in WAS and Scopus Journal. Alright, she has presented paper at the conference both locally, internationally, and also she has also certified trainer of data analyst and machine learning by master by Right Minor USA. Alright, Dr. Fairos also received UITM Top Talent Award for her contribution and achievement as successful researcher by UITM. Alright, her current work is collaboration with researcher from North Texas University on machine learning dengue outbreak predictions in Malaysia. She was a visiting lecturer in Fakultas Matematika and Ilmu Pengetahuan Alam for Institute Teknologi Bandung, Indonesia. Alright, and the last one, she has been invited as a speaker for intensive courses on panel count model data mining workshop and conference from Institute Teknologi Bandung dan banyak lagi sebenarnya. Alright, so panjang kan, panjang lebar, right? She also as a member of many organizations, including IEEE and also Institute of Statistics Malaysia. Alright, so with that, I ask all of you to give full attention to Associate Professor Dr. Wan Fairos Puan Yaacob. Alright, so before we start, actually saya nak tahu juga apa sebenarnya topik kita pada pagi ini lah. Alright, what is data mining, apa dia punya correlatednya dengan library. Alright, so saya suka untuk memetik salah satu artikel yang saya baca lah. Alright, from daripada YBhg. Alright, data mining, alright, is a form of artificial intelligence that is automated, use automated processes to find information. Alright, although it is used in library to be explored, data mining has been used successfully for several years in scientific and business community for tracking behavior of individual groups and processing of medical information and a number of other applications. All right. So actually, data mining process is one of the stages in the knowledge discovery databases, KDD process. All right. So if you have any questions, mesti ada tanya-tanya, Rohayu, what is KDD and everything? So you can ask the speaker after this. All right. So apakah cycle of data mining yang terlibat, apakah kegunaan dan kepentingan data mining kepada library dan juga di bidang-bidang lain di luar sana, apa juga correlation antara data mining dengan library itself. Alright, so insyaAllah speaker kita pada pagi ini akan kongsikan dengan kita lah. Alright, if you have any questions, you can type in the chat box. Alright, so if you want to ask the speaker direct questions, you can wait at the end of the session during the Q&A session. All right. Okay. First of all, my first questions to Dr. Wan. All right. So just can you elaborate what is data mining actually? All right. Over to you, Doctor. Silakan.
Okay, terima kasih. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh. Dan selamat pagi pada semua audience untuk PTA webinar, research webinar today session. So Alhamdulillah, you want me to answer your question dulu ke, Siti Rohayu? Puan Siti Rohayu? Or can I just straight away?
Yeah, what is data mining?
You want to know what is data mining? So basically, the topic of our session today is the application of data mining techniques in library service. So data mining is actually a process of finding the information, okay, analyzing the data, finding information from a large amount of data. So we are going to uncover the hidden pattern or rules or any information, meaningful information from large amount of data. So that is the keyword of what is data mining. So as what being mentioned by Siti Rohayu just now, we are going to look into what are these data mining techniques benefits that can be used by librarians specifically, because kita akan fokus banyak kepada library service, but we will also look into the other areas as well, the application in other areas as well. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Doctor. All right, so that is basically what is data mining lah. All right, so as explained by our speaker just now, all right, so Doktor akan memfokuskan kepada library services, but not only that, maybe jika ada participants di sini yang berlainan bidang, all right, if you want to share or you want to ask questions related to your area, you may ask selepas ni lah. All right, so Doctor, will you explain what is data on warehousing dan mining software ni sebenarnya? Alright, so apakah software yang terlibat untuk proses data mining? Silakan, Doctor.
Okay. Talking about data warehousing is actually a method where you organize and you compile many forms of data into one database. That is data warehousing. Whereas when we are talking about data mining, it is actually the methods or the techniques that, or the process where you are analyzing those data that has been gathered, that has been compiled in the data warehouse to find the meaningful patterns. And normally we involve when we have large amount of data, then it is like satu kerugian lah untuk kita tidak menganalisa data tersebut. So using these days advanced techniques of data mining techniques, we can actually analyze those data and use the findings from the analysis to make more informed decision in whatever field that we are.
Dah diorang semua duduk okey? Dah okey.
Okey
So
lah.
dah okey, diorang setuju dengan idea tu. So 19 hari bulan ni Lina akan berjumpa dengan diorang punya lecturers lah.
Hello, Dr. Shazlin.
Okay.
Okay. You may continue. All right.
It's okay. Yes, Ayu, that's it.
All right. Okay. All right. So, the third question, this is very, very important lah. Orang kata inilah sebenarnya yang doktor nak kupaskan, iaitu the technique that involved in data mining ni lah. So, can you explain more on what are those techniques that you are going to be using in data mining lah? All right, over to you, doctor.
Okay, talking about data mining techniques, there's a lot of techniques under data mining actually, where I'm going to discuss in detail dalam sharing saya sekejap lagi lah. But basically, if the audience would like to know the idea of what are the categories of data mining techniques, it can be actually divided into directed data mining and undirected data mining. So some use supervised data mining, or some use unsupervised data mining. So those two terms are being used interchangeably. So under both techniques ini, kita ada pelbagai methodology and algorithm yang boleh kita gunakan lah. So for supervised or directed data mining, it is meant for those data where you have a target variables. And if you do not have a target variable, you just want that the aim is just to discover the patterns and rules, you are moving to you can use or you can opt for undirected data mining. So we are going to look into what are the techniques available under these two approaches. So basically that is the data mining techniques. Are you?
Okay. All right, doctor. Okay. All right. So continue. All right. My next questions, what are the process involved in data mining? So maybe doktor boleh explain proses-proses yang perlu dilalui untuk kita adakan data mining ni lah, dan proses-proses yang terlibat.
All right. Okay. Now basically when we opt for any analytics projects which involve data mining techniques, okay, basically we call it as a data mining process. It involves six steps that you need to follow. Any modelers or any analyst normally would advise to use this standard process of data mining techniques, data mining methodology, which involve, like, the first is business understanding, which is defining what is the objective, what is the aim of your analytics project. You have to be clear on the objective, and then you move to your the steps of so-called the data understanding. Once you are clear with what is your aim and your role, your objective, then you have to identify whether do you have the data or not to proceed with the next steps. Where if you do not have if you do not have that particular data that can help you to analyze and achieve your objective, then normally you need to go back to the first stage and redefine your objective. And then the next step is data preparation. So once you have understand your data, you are going to look for the data. You prepare your data, you pull your data, you get your data, and then you will analyze, you will transform, you will do this, what we call the ETL process, the extract, transform, and load. And then you move to, after you have prepared your data and do the cleaning process, you can proceed to analysis or any types of techniques, data mining techniques that I've mentioned just now, or any modeling techniques that you prefer, which is suitable to achieve the objective of your, in your first steps. Then you process the data, you analyze it using any data mining techniques. And the next steps is normally you have to evaluate your models or your results and using any evaluation metrics. And finally, the last steps is to monitor and to deploy, to implement what have you developed, what have you run, what have you analyzed using from the results, then you deploy it to the to the real data sets. And the proses tu akan continue sampai seterusnya lah, sehingga you have, if you want to increase data dan sebagainya, it will berpusing balik. Dan if you have a new objective, then you will start a new one, a new data mining process of analytics project. So that is basically the process that we follow. Normally the analyst or the modeler would follow so-called the CRISDM, the standard process of data mining techniques methodology. Okay, are you?
All right. Okay. Is there something if you want, Doctor, if you want to share your slide, or
I will go through the detailing part in the sharing session later. Yeah, I'll begin with the detailing part.
All right. Okay. So actually, the next question is data mining in library services. Can you explain what dia punya correlation ataupun relatednya data mining? Adakah data mining is already being applied in library field, in library services, especially?
Yes,
Alright. So,
I reserve. Thank you, Ayu. I reserve the answer untuk soalan Rohayu ni dalam slide saya nanti, because saya ada bincangkan. I will show some of the applications of these techniques in library services. Okay, and the correlation between the availabilities of data in library domain that can be used to be suited with the methodologies in data mining techniques.
Alright. Okay, Doktor. Lepas itu kita nak tahu juga. Alright. So what are the benefits? Is there any disadvantages in terms of bila kita apply application of data mining? So is there any advantages and disadvantages of this data mining?
Yes, there's a lot of advantages and disadvantages. So I will detail out itu dalam penghujung saya punya slide nanti, if you allow me to start with the session.
Okay, all right. So,
Okay.
Doctor, I think with all the questions, I will proceed this session to you, and then you can share your slides with the audience.
All right. Okay. Boleh nampak slide saya?
Boleh, Doktor?
Okay. Alright, so bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Kita dah mukaddimah tadi, tapi apapun, let me thank to express my appreciation to PTAR UiTM Chongai Kelantan, and also in collaboration with PTAR Shah Alam. Congratulations for successfully organize this PTA research webinar. And I would like to thank PTA for inviting me for this session. Just a sharing session yang tak banyak pun pengalaman saya, tapi sedikit yang boleh saya kongsikan. Semoga boleh memberi manfaat kepada rakan-rakan UiTM seluruh sistem, insyaAllah. So Alhamdulillah, my topic today is application of data mining techniques in library service. Alright, so basically the outline of my sharing today is going to be, we'll begin with what is big data, because before we talk about data mining, I think the audience, and I'm pretty sure that audience memang dah sangat biasa dengan term big data, because kita pun dah sekarang dalam era big data dan tak boleh lari daripada big data. So the data mining is quite closely related with the big data terminologies and area of interest. So then once you understand what is the big data is all about, and the part of the analytics that falls under the big data, and what motivate us to look into this area, saya akan sentuh sedikit di dalam the first part, and then I'll move on to the types of data mining. I'm going to talk about what is data mining. Tadi sikit-sikit dah intro kata teaser daripada Siti Rohayu tadi. So saya akan detailkan a bit more on what are the different types of data mining techniques, the classification, the predictions, and especially the methodology will be discussed earlier lah. And then once we get an idea of what is the techniques that falls under data mining, kita tengok sedikit some of the applications of these data mining techniques, and also the predictive analytics. You will learn about the predictive analytics later. Saya akan tunjuk sedikit how is it related with the data minings in several areas, several other areas. Saya tak masuk lagi library. Saya masuk dulu area-area yang lain, so that you can have a bigger picture on how does these techniques is also valuable and beneficial in other areas. Then we move to data mining techniques in library service. Then we will look into some of the applications of these techniques in library service, and I will conclude with challenges and recommendations. Okay, so a bit about myself. Although Siti Rohayu dah introduce saya tadi, saya dari UiTM Cawangan Kelantan. Have been working with UiTM for almost 21 years, and my area of interest, my area of expertise is statistical modeling, actually, in basically looking at the count data and also panel count data, focusing on road accidents, dengue disease, and water quality, and also educational data mining. And on top of statistical modeling, my passion is also in data mining and machine learning. So I've done quite several research in the data mining techniques, also in the area of dengue disease, in the education data mining, and also road accident. And also focusing on talking about the methodological part or theoretical part. As a statistician, I have also quite a number of research focusing on the machine learning methodology and algorithms, specifically in handling the imbalance class data problem. And Alhamdulillah, I secured several grants related to this area of research, but I do not do this alone. I have teams, so these are my teams who support me all the time. Okay, kat mana-mana pun adalah kombinasi-kombinasi rakan-rakan saya ni, which comes from not only statistician actually. We are a combination of accountants, from finance background, from marketing, from computer science, orang database, macam-macam ya. Because bila kita buat research, we cannot stand alone. Kita tak boleh pergi jauh kalau kita seorang diri. So we have to work in a group, in a team. So my team, alhamdulillah, is a quite strong team, and we support each other, and to form a strong RIG team of a business data analytics, where we focus on the intelligence data analytics, business intelligence and analytical modeling. Our team member, alhamdulillah, banyak support lah, and secure a few grants for in the area of analytics. Okay, so done with me. Let's look at what is big data. Now, big data is referring to large amount of data in a combination of structured, semi-structured, and unstructured collected by organization that can be mined for information and can be used in machine learning projects or predictive modeling or any other advanced analytics applications. So why do I introduce the big data before we talk about data mining? Because data minings need big data because you are going to explore. It's a process of exploring large amount of data, and that large amount of data is referring to the big data. So you have to understand what is big data. It is a collection of semi-structured, structured, and unstructured data. So collected by your organization in whatever, in any fields, mana-mana field pun, kita tak boleh lari daripada data. Dan sekarang pun memang data is exploding. So sangat merugikanlah kalau kita tidak analyze, kita tidak menggunakan kelebihan, the opportunity yang ada dengan this rise amount of data. Okay, so that is the definition of big data. Banyak sebenarnya. There's a lot of other definition as well. Some says data whose scale, diversity, complexity require new architecture techniques, involve algorithms and analytics to manage it and extract value and hidden knowledge from it. So those are some of the definition by others, and sometimes others also refer it to the extremely large data set that may be analyzed computationally to reveal patterns and association. So sometimes the definition is quite similar with the data mining definition as well because it is closely related. So what motivates us to look into and to dwell into this big data? Yeah. So kita tahu sekarang data volumes are exploding. The growth of big data ni kat mana-mana pun ada. Kalau dulu kita carry Nokia handphone saja, but now telefon kita tu kalau tak ada tu macam tak boleh hidup kan. Semua maklumat semua kat situ. So the motivation for us to somehow memang we have to face with this large rise, big rise of data volume. It is exploding, and every seconds now kita dah lebih pada yottabyte dan sebagainya. Ni orang database tahu ni, sebab tu saya kata bila kita nak bercakap tentang analytics or data mining, kita tak boleh seorang-seorang. Kita perlu a team, kita perlu statistician, kita perlu people from database, kita perlu people from the domain area itself. Kita perlu juga orang business people yang berkaitan dengan area tersebut. So ini saya kata ini antara benda yang nak faham data mining, big data, dia akan berkait-kait dengan the database dan sebagainya. So it's a trending technologies. So one of the motivation kenapa kita nak look into this data, big data and data mining ni, because it's trending that technologies. Kalau kita tidak into it, kita akan kerugian dan ketinggalan lah. So with this trending technologies of artificial intelligence, big data, blockchain, machine learning and augmented reality, kita tak boleh lari lah daripada terjebak di dalam this big data analytics. And more data will be stored, apatah lagi di dalam bidang library service management, ya. Data semakin banyak dan kita dah move towards digital library, right? So data tu sangat banyak, dan kalau kita tengok di sini, according to IDC, we predict the average person will have nearly like 5,000 digital interaction per day by 2025, up to 700 of people average today. Nak cakapnya, okay? So once kita dah faham what is big data, what are the characteristics that describe the big data? So dulu orang cakap pasal 4 V's. Tapi sekarang I believe dia dah banyak dah. Not only 4 V's. But this is the fundamental or the core characteristics of big data. Where kalau dia tidak ada ciri-ciri 4 V's ini, dia bukannya big data lah. Okay, dia small data sajalah. So it refers to anything yang volume, variety, veracity and velocity. Okay, so volume tadi saya dah sentuh. Bila volume makin banyak, large amount of data is exploding, makin meningkat. So that is one of the characteristics of big data. Variety, Variety. If you have data in a form of structured, unstructured, dalam bentuk comments daripada Facebook, social media, and you have data dalam bentuk spreadsheets or data dalam bentuk HTML or semi-structured dan sebagainya. So you have a pelbagai form of data type. We call it variety. That is one of the characteristics of big data. And then we have veracity. Veracity ni macam dia unclean, so dia macam bercampur-campur, noise. So you nampak itu ciri-ciri big data. Dia tak cantik, clean, macam Cook's data. It contains lots of data yang noise lah maksud saya. Macam contoh kalau library ni data book borrowing books data, you mungkin fikir macam data borrowing tu daripada customer you, betul-betul itulah buku yang di borrow oleh that particular customer. Tetapi if the customer borrow on behalf of her friends or his friends, itu dipanggil noise. Yeah? You are actually measuring, you are counting the number of books borrowed. You rasa inilah bilangan buku yang dipinjam oleh customer you dalam area ini, dalam fakulti ini. That reflects a number of quite big number of average and number of books borrowed. But then you tak sedar di dalam figure tersebut ada noise. Kemungkinan bukannya truly describe or truly represent the real number of books borrowed by that particular person to represent that particular area of field. Sebab dia pinjam untuk kawan dia. Okay, so itu yang saya kata ciri-ciri the veracity or the unclean elements in your big data. So tak apa, tak ada masalah. We can allow for that because it describes the nature of the big data. And another important criteria that characterize the big data is velocity. Velocity, speed of generation, rate of velocity. Sejauh it's speeding, speeding. So maksudnya that is one of the characteristics of big data. Kalau data you bertambah 10 tahun lagi baru bertambah sebanyak 1,000, 20 tahun lagi bertambah 10,000, itu bukan ciri-ciri big data lah. Alright, so itu just a bit information regarding the characteristics of big data. Ini yang saya add more lah daripada about their veracity, volume, variety, veracity and velocity. Okay, so seperti yang saya maklum tadi lah, kalau volume increase, we can see that data sekarang is increasing exponentially. And in terms of variety, we have so many formats of data, like structured and unstructured. Okay, sama ada dalam bentuk, kalau unstructured, dia bukan data yang di dalam structured, bukan dalam bentuk columns, rows, and you can see and you can extract and you can straight away analyze it, but it is in a form of unstructured, like comments or images or numerical or audio videos, where you have to transform your unstructured into structured data to analyze it. So we will look into the techniques. What are the techniques that you can use to analyze such unstructured data? Okay, and more info on variety, on velocity. And veracity. Veracity is the noise, bias, and abnormality in the data. So those are the characteristics yang describe the big data. But what drives big data? Apapun, walaupun begitu, walaupun there's a lot of difficulties that you see, banyaknya ada veracity, macam-macam, ada noise, ada bias. Why do we need to do this? Kan? So basically there's a techniques, there's a methodology that is available, and opportunity yang ada, yang these days, yang ada kalanya tidak memerlukan kos yang besar, which is freely available software that we can use to analyze such data. So the more complex your data, the higher the business value will be. So maksudnya kalau you punya, your organization data maturity is higher, then you will gain higher business value. Itu maksud saya. Maksudnya sekiranya your organization, in terms of data maturity, is how mature is the organization in persediaan dia, availability of the data, availability of the skills needed the analytical skills needed embed in the staff di dalam organisasi tersebut untuk analyze data dan menggunakan big data analytics, semakin bagus the data maturity, semakin tinggilah the business value, I mean the decision making made by the managers of that particular organization on the basis of data yang dia akan perolehi. Okay, so begitulah, sebab itulah dia drive juga kita somehow untuk belajar tentang big data analytics ini. Okay, alright, then we talk about data. Saya dah sentuh tadi sedikit tentang data, dan Madam Siti Rohayu pun ada bertanya apa ciri-ciri teknik-teknik tadi, dan saya selitkan sedikit bagaimana perkaitannya dengan data. So again, just to introduce, sebelum kita look into the techniques, we might want to know what are the types of data that are available for that particular techniques, or the data that is suitable for that particular techniques. Not all techniques can be used for the data type that you have in your organization. Okay, that is the most important part. Important, sangat-sangat penting to have a group of team members to form any analytics projects, because that particular members need to understand, some need to understand on the types or structure of the data. One of the member need to be expert in terms of the database, data warehousing, how to collect, how to merge, how to concatenate, how to group, how to put all the data in one place. Okay, and we also need people from data scientists to analyze the data using the algorithm yang ada, yang bersesuaian dengan data yang sedia ada, and also the business people. Once the results has been produced, we need to interpret the results and relate it with the business domain, which require an expert in that area. So kita perlu antara satu sama lain lah. So back to types of data. Ini sangat penting. Understanding the types of data is very, very important. Even the top management is also needed to have this skills, ability to understand, to distinguish, oh, we have what types of data to analyze this. I want this. Top management dia nak tahu benda ni je. Dia nak tahu keputusan ini sebab dia nak make quick decision. But do they have the data to analyze and to help them to support their decision? Kalau dia tidak ada data tersebut, then susahlah. Okay, so the top management, once the top management understand these are the types of data yang diperlukan untuk menjawab ataupun untuk mencari, membantu the top management to make decision, therefore the organization perlu the awareness of collecting such data in that particular form is needed lah. Okay, tetapi tak apa. Dengan kadang-kadang kita boleh mula dengan analytic project ni, dengan data mining analytics ni, dengan apa sahaja data yang kita ada setakat yang kita ada lah, yang kita collect, the historical data yang kita ada. But of course we can always improve, make enhancement dengan availability of data yang kita ada. Mungkin kita boleh tambah field, kita boleh create more field untuk kita collect more data yang lebih accurate untuk kita analyze data yang mengikut apa objektif yang kita nak. So we have structured and unstructured. Nampak ni macam dua big category, structured and unstructured. But actually kalau kita go into details, we have actually semi-structured and quasi-structured. Kalau tengok kat situ, kalau structured ni is basically dalam bentuk format Excel, very structured punya dataset lah yang kita ada. Kita dapat clear data yang kita nampak, measurable, measurementnya, scale-nya, very clear. But if unstructured, it refers to text document, PDF, images, videos, comment, sticker, macam-macam kan, benda-benda yang bukan dalam bentuk all those that can be measured numerically, qualitative and quantitative. Yang ni pun quantitative tapi dalam bentuk images. And we have semi-structured. Kalau semi-structured ni dia dalam bentuk contoh XML data files that are self-described. Contohnya ni orang database banyak juga guna ni. And quasi-structured is like web click stream data. Ini pun boleh digunakan untuk kita analyze juga. Web click stream. So how many, which your customer move from this web to another web, the click stream dia tu kita boleh analyze using unstructured form of data mining techniques. Okay, so ini contohlah structured, semi-structured, quasi-structured, unstructured. So yang di bawah unstructured ni sebenarnya data dia lebih banyak if you compare with structured data. There's a lot of unstructured data atas bumi ni. Memang sangat banyak. Sangat banyak. Tinggal lagi you know how to scrap, you know how to mine it. Okay? Sebab so many data, tengok dekat web, apa semua memang you boleh crawl, you boleh scrap data ni and you can analyze if you want to analyze it lah. If you understand data mining techniques, there's a lot of techniques that you can use to analyze any form of data structure. Okay. So, semua okay? Okay, good. Saya proceed. Now, what is data mining? So, data mining is actually an analytical process of discovering meaningful and useful patterns and rules and trends, anything. Hidden patterns, rules, trends, relationship, apa saja di sebalik big data in large amount of data, and normally typically is used to predict future or to make decision dan sebagainya lah. So that's the definition of data mining. It is a complex process. Some define it as a complex process of examining big data to uncover information. Dan data ini, maklumat ini akan digunakan to help the organization to make informed business decisions. So there are some areas of data mining which includes predictive analytics, machine learning and artificial intelligence. So aim dia, tujuan dia dalam data mining punya task ini ialah tadi dalam definition, kita nak identify any anomalies or any patterns or any rules or any correlation that can be used for us to make prediction. Itu dia punya maksud data mining. So bila kita bercakap tentang data mining, big data and data mining, bila kita tengok di sini, there's a lot of, you nampak ada domain area kat sini kan. Tadi Puan Siti Rohayu sebut pasal KDD dan sebagainya. So kita ada statistics, pattern recognition, machine learning, neurocomputing, database dan sebagainya. Tetapi dalam data mining per se, yang closely related, the field yang very closely related are the statistics, artificial intelligence and machine learning. Sebab saya tak masuk topik yang sangat besar, because kalau topik sangat besar tu kena cover yang lain-lain lagi lah. So saya fokus kepada, untuk permulaan kita tengok data mining ni dulu. So bila data mining, it requires 3 important field ini. Sangat penting important field ini. Dia memang berkait-kait in order to establish sampai ke tahap ini the data mining punya techniques, methodology dan sebagainya. So statistics itu apa? Semua orang tahu statistics, right? You're giving meaningful, it's a numerical study untuk data relationship, you are memberi nilai dan makna kepada data. And it requires a field of artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is something yang is an extreme human-like punya intelligence yang displayed by the software ataupun machine. Whereas kalau kita bercakap tentang another field which is machine learning, from the term machine learning is learning from the data, okay? Automatically, it's an ability to automatically learn the data using machine. So you less minimal help from the human. Itu maksud dia human. Itu maksud dia machine learning. You're using machine to learn the data like human lah contohnya. So 3 important field ini akan membantu mengurangkan the tedious process of analyzing this large amount of data yang sangat noise, sangat banyak, sangat variety-nya. Okay, so 3 field ini membantu untuk speed up the process with algorithmnya, with methodnya, with nature yang ada di dalam field tersebut lah. Okay.
Doktor, ada pertanyaan daripada Dr.
Yes.
Muslim. Katanya KDD tu knowledge database discovery ke doktor?
Yeah, knowledge database discovery. So dia di dalam sub-sub lah, di dalam sub-sub ni juga. So dia macam subset lah. Data mining ni di tengah. It's also a data discovery, database discovery, tetapi dia data mining dia lebih fokus. Tetapi dia memerlukan statistics, dia memerlukan machine learning, dia memerlukan AI. Nampak dah dia punya tu. Dia intersect kat situ. Kalau dulu dipanggil KDD, ada juga term yang guna dulu punya term dengan KDD. It's still diguna juga the term KDD. Okay. Thank you, Delina. So I'll move on to the process. Tadi rakan moderator kita bertanya, what are the process involved in data mining ni? So saya dah sebutlah tadi, ya, 6 level, 6 steps semuanya. Suka saya nak highlight, any modelers, any analyst in any organisation, as kita pun tahu government memang encourage the big data analytics initiative sekarang kan, dekat mana-mana organisation seeloknya ada tim yang analytics ini, tim big data, sebab inilah keperluan kepada all those 4 V's of data yang hadir sekarang ni. So bila ada tim ini, it is advisable to follow these 6 steps. Kalau you want to run any analytics project, don't just, if you want to do any analytics project, ada data, you terus run, analyze, dan present data you. Don't do like that. Jangan ada data, buat, terus analyze, guna je software mana-mana, keluarkan output. Don't. Pause. If you have any analytic task given by your top management or your boss, okay, you try to follow this data mining process methodology completely from stage 1 until stage 6. So it is important. Kenapa? Sebab kalau kita tak follow this process, kita might produce something yang wrongly wrong decision yang kita buat lah. Kita rasa macam decision kita dah betul, tetapi actually kita belum look into the real source yang kita ada. But if you follow this process, kita actually dah go through everything, so that at the end of the day kita punya results, kita punya finding can be generalized untuk keseluruhan. Kita yakin dengan keputusan kita. So let's look into that process in detail. Kenapa sangat penting? Saya selalu advance macam ni. Kalau saya selalu dapat certain project yang daripada mana-mana organisasi, dia selalu cakap, saya ada banyak data, tolong saya untuk nak tengok which area, mana golongan asnaf yang memerlukan bantuan. Ada data dan dia bagi terus. No. Apa yang kita pergi is kita train, kita bantu the big data team di organisasi tersebut untuk follow the correct process of doing any analytics projects. So let us look into the process. Macam mana kita nak buat ya? Dan kita cuba blendkan teknik ini dengan data dan area kita di dalam organisasi kita. Okay. Alright. First phase or step 1 is business understanding. Nama business tak bukannya dalam area business, any organization lah kan. So here is outlining the business goal. Jangan, you ada data dekat organisasi, you ada data, oh banyak data ni, boleh tak kita run? Dapat run macam ni, kita keluarkan output, kita cuba tengok relationship. No, don't go like that. You need to sit down with your top management, set up your business goal. What is the aim of your analytics project? Selalunya kita mesti ada aim. Apa yang kita nak? Selalunya it comes with the aim. What is the business goal? Contoh in business environment, like business objective is to reduce customer churn. Saya ambil kat mana-mana sale punya company dia punya aim, objektif dia, top management dia kata dia nak reduce customer churn, nak reduce kan customer yang tidak loyal ni, yang switch to another product, another company. Itu dia punya objektif. Sama juga dengan library. Apa you punya objektif? Objektif you nak increase book borrowing ke? Itu ke objektif? You have to sit down and look into what is your objective. Itu adalah objektif, the business objective. From that objective, you have to transform it into data mining goals. So dalam data mining, when we talk about data mining, dia ada steps dia lah. ada directed data mining, undirected yang kita akan tengok nanti. Kalau directed, kita ada goal yang kita nak predict. So kalau kita nak predict contohnya ini, you want to reduce the customer churn or customer yang tidak loyal. So you want to predict who is likely to churn. That is the data mining punya goals. So in your library punya area, your data mining goal is to predict borrowing rate or to predict the apa sajalah yang you rasa nak predict tu. So itu step pertama, you kena clear on your objective. Then only you move to the second phase, which is data understanding. Following your objective, you have to understand whether you have or not the data, whether the data is available or not. Ada ke tak data ni? Kalau you nak predict the borrowing rate, do you have data on the borrowing, number of borrow? Do you have the data on that particular data set untuk you nak achieve your objective? So kalau ada, data dia macam mana? Is it collected cross-sectionally or is it time series data? Bila ke bila? What is the quality of data? Do you have this year or previous 2 years you tak ada? Yang 3 tahun sebelum tu ada? And then you have like missing data. Look at the quality of the data. Is it accurate? Is it representative? Adakah data tu betul-betul reflect the real book borrowing by that particular faculty? Or you have to clean the data first dan sebagainya. Dan di mana you nak collect the data? How, where, why, and by whom was the data collected? Understand the data first. That is the second step. So once dah faham data, scale-nya macam mana? It is structured, it is unstructured, it is readily available, then only you move to the third phase, which is data preparation. Here it involves the ETL process, which is the extract, transform, and load. So you now know your data is available in a form of structured, where you can collect it, the source of your data, blah blah dan sebagainya. Dan sekarang you move to you prepare your data. Masukkan data you, retrieve your data, store your data, select the column, identify which attributes yang you akan pilih to analyze the data. If it is need transformation, you have to transform. If you need to create a new attributes, recode into a different variables or recode into a new variables dan sebagainya. So you have to do that in this process. We call it extract, then you transform your data and you load. Once everything is clean, barulah kita boleh guna untuk step modeling or analysis, which is phase 4. Now this phase 4 involves the methodology or the algorithms or any data mining techniques that is relevant to your objective. Kalau objektif tadi nak predict, then it must be something to do with predictive analytics or models or any machine learning techniques. Kalau you nak predict, but if you want to find cluster or you want to classify the customer into few groups, or you want to see, you want to cluster your students, your borrowers into several categories. So that might be under undirected data mining. So phase 4 would involve the specific techniques that relevant to your objective, and you execute it, you analyze it, you run it. So you perform lah teknik-tekniknya. Before you run the data, normally if it is predictive analytics, you have to apply the validation techniques as well. You have to partition your data into training and testing set, or training, testing, and validation set to further evaluate and validate your data set sebelum you perform the algorithm of the machine learning. So you can try several models and different parameters. You can, kat sini you akan buatlah proses run back and forth, mencari model yang terbaik dan sebagainya sehingga you dapat yang terbaik, dan barulah you evaluate the model. Phase 5 is evaluate your model using any accuracy matrices like accuracy matrix dan sebagainya, and you validate model you sekali lagi, adakah dia achieve your required precision and accuracy. And here is also the understandability may require the trade-off. Sometimes in a particular area, the accuracy is not a concern, but the cost is more important. Contohnya kan, kalau in area of medical, accuracy is very important because it involve life and death dan sebagainya. Tetapi accuracy dia boleh bargain, tak apalah, accuracy 70% pun okay, but accuracy is important, sangat penting. Nak 80-90% accuracy. So begitulah kat sini is evaluation part. And last but not least is deployment, where you put the model into use, you apply the model tu kepada data yang sebenarnya dalam the whole system. So itulah proses di dalam data mining methodology. Okay, sometimes yang guna dan bagi this analytics process, analytics project punya proses lah. So kita masuk kepada data mining techniques. We have supervised or unsupervised learning or supervised techniques, directed or undirected. Seperti saya kata tadi, for directed, we have classification or regression. I don't think we can discuss the detailing algorithm falls under this supervised learning, but I'm just gonna name few of the techniques on under supervised and some of the techniques under unsupervised. So when we talk about supervised learning or supervised techniques, we have actually classification and regression. Later kita akan tengok ciri-ciri supervised learning ataupun supervised data mining ialah ia memerlukan a target variable. Something yang kita nak predict. Kalau kita ada variable yang kita nak predict, then teknik-teknik data mining yang menghala ke arah data that we want to predict lah yang kita pilih, such as sama ada classification ataupun regression. Now, why classification and regression? Because it reflect your nature of your target variable. Kalau your target variable is categorical, then you choose the classification learnings techniques. If your target variable is continuous, then you can opt for any regression techniques. Maksudnya target variable itu you nak predict. Contoh borrowing rate. Rate itu adalah continuous. So you boleh guna teknik regression. Tapi kalau you nak predict sama ada dia borrow ataupun tidak, yes or no, that is categorical. Your target variable yang you nak predict is categorical, then you can choose classification methodology of data mining. So under classification ni dia ada macam-macam lah. You boleh guna techniques neural networks, Bayesian, you boleh guna decision tree, you boleh guna support vector machine, you boleh guna more advanced techniques of decision tree based like ensemble models, gradient boosting, random forest, macam-macam lah kat situ yang boleh kita tengok kat situ. And then some of these techniques like decision tree can also be used for classification and also for regression. Maksudnya dia boleh digunakan for both categorical target and also for both and also for numerical target. So dia adalah kesesuaian teknik tersebut untuk data yang kita ada. Alright? Whereas if you do not have any intention to predict your target, then you might choose the unsupervised learning. So for unsupervised learning, we have methods like association rules, clustering. Clustering ni macam-macam clustering. We have hierarchical clustering, non-hierarchical clustering, K-means, K-medians, macam-macam jenis clustering yang kita boleh buat. Tetapi aim kita ialah hanya untuk cluster. Kita nak identify pattern, itu sahaja. Kita tidak nak predict apa-apa. But analysis from clustering ini can be proceed with the supervised learning. Bila kita dah boleh clusterkan data kita kepada beberapa kategori, we can proceed with that groups itu untuk teknik yang supervised tadi. Kita boleh buat more analysis on the prediction or using supervised. Another techniques under unsupervised is association rules. Association rules ini juga sangat penting dan sangat banyak digunakan, di-apply di dalam banyak area to understand the association between the items. Itu dia punya rules. It is very beneficial to in certain areas, especially in marketing. Dia nak produk, dia nak jual barang dia nak tahu kalau dia jual barang A bersama dengan barang B, which promotional campaign is more suitable to sell product item A and B together, or item A and C together, or item A and D together. So you can analyze your data, your transactional data from the customer punya behavior ni by measuring, by analyzing your data, customer punya data tadi, using the association rules where you can produce the confidence, support. You boleh nampak ada measurement dia lah yang boleh mengatakan, oh you jual lah dua barang produk ni together and it will increase the sales, because banyak customer you tend to buy item A together with item B and item C. Same goes in library services. You can analyze your apa nama ni, data buku yang dipinjam tu. Selalunya customer, students akan borrow buku A, item A 3 dan 5 together, so that you can have a customized apa nama ni, service punya promotion dekat this particular student in that area daripada fakulti ini to promote. You can borrow this book together with this book and this book. Highly confidence that the students will borrow that particular item compared to another combination of items. Itu adalah teknik association rules. Okay, sedikit lah. Ini yang saya kata tadi, saya dah sebut dah apa itu data mining style. Kalau supervised, dia mesti ada target variable untuk you predict. Kalau unsupervised, dia hanya nak tengok overall pattern saja, and it is not tied to any target variable. Ini kalau supervised tadi, kita nak predict sama ada dia ya ataupun tidak. Ini kalau classification, kalau regression lain cerita lah, bukan gambar ni lah. Kalau unsupervised, you just want to see any cluster or association or relationship between the items or any outlier detection. Alright. Ini saya dah sebutlah tadi, beberapa yang saya highlight tadi samalah, benda yang sama, is about classification and regression. Why there's two different types of supervised learning style? Because it depends on your target variable, whether it is continuous or it is categorical. If it is categorical, there's few techniques that is meant for categorical variable, but if it is continuous, you opt for regressions. And these are some of the popular data mining techniques for classification, which contoh lah ni if classification you want to predict on item class, for association you want to determine which things go together, how it is dependencies, also known as dependencies modeling, and in descriptions, descriptive and visualization is also one of you punya undirected data mining. For others is estimation, ini untuk predictive modeling lah. Deviation detection, link analysis dan sebagainya. Ini saya just highlight. And this table is also good for you to refer which techniques is sesuai untuk your classification, which techniques sesuai untuk estimation, which techniques sesuai for your binary response, and if you want to find clusters and patterns, these are the techniques. Contohnya lah. Ya. Machine learning tadi pun saya dah highlight, so I think I can move this one. What problem can data mining and machine learning solve? Banyak problem dalam fraud detection, target marketing, facial recognition, predicting churn, customer traffic prediction, dan termasuk juga dalam library service. Kita akan tengok the detailing of the techniques yang saya sebut tadi dalam library service. So sebelum kita tengok the applications in other areas and also library service, let's look at the analytics. Kita kena faham juga actually the analytics, the types of analytics, because since we have understand the different types of data mining tadi, kita ada supervised and unsupervised, right? But actually the findings or the results from the analysis in stage modeling and analysis tadi, dia akan menghasilkan you punya findings of your analytics itu. And it also depends on the objective of your business goal yang depan tu. Kalau goal you tu nak predict customer punya borrowing books, the borrowing book rates, you nak predict, then it falls under what types of analytics? Macam tu. So saya introduce sedikit the types of analytics. Dia ada 4 categories of analytics. So that at least when you do any analytics projects, you tahu, oh, you are doing actually the predictive analytics. Oh, I'm doing actually the descriptive analytics. Or I'm doing a diagnostic analytics. Or I am actually applying the prescriptive analytics. So actually dia ada 4 level, which is descriptive, diagnostic, predictive and prescriptive. So descriptive, I'm sure ramai faham lah. Dia lebih kepada you describe what happened, you look at the facts, figures, bar charts, pie chart dan sebagainya. So you just describe and give the detailed picture. But diagnostic is lebih detail sedikit. You on top of descriptive, you macam look into it, allow you to critically assess why an outcome happened. So from the descriptive results tu, you boleh analyze, you diagnose sedikit dia punya hasilnya. And then you have the next level, which is predictive. Kalau predictive, you want to know what will happen. So using the historical data, the previous data that you have, you analyze it and you use any predictive analytics techniques or machine learnings or supervised learning techniques, and you predict because you want to know what is happen in the future. Okay, and what would the outcome be? Whereas the highest level of analytics is the prescriptive, where in this prescriptive, you akan melihat kepada what should I do? You are moving to the level where what should I do? How can a specific outcome be achieved through use of specific element? Dia lebih kepada apa nama ni? You dah eksperimenkan benda tu. If you put this amount at particular amount, what would it impact your target variable? Dia dah sampai ke tahap optimization lah. Okay, itu level of analytics yang kita ada. Okay, so you mungkin akan faham later bila you buat all this analytics project, you mungkin boleh nampak, oh, you are doing actually the predictive analytics, you are doing only descriptive analytics. Okay, so why it is important? Why these are all important? Because it makes data driven decision. You are making decision not only based on you punya intuition, tetapi you are making decision based on the facts and you punya data. You can gather hidden insights, you nampak patterns, you can generate reports, you can perform any analysis, further analysis, advanced analysis, and it can improve your business requirement. Okay, so saya sentuh sedikit beberapa application of these data mining techniques and predictive analytics dalam area-area yang telah saya buat sebelum ni. Okay, saya tak masuk lagi library, saya tengok yang mana-mana yang saya pernah buat. So, saya pernah, we can apply predictive analytics dalam dengue, in predicting dengue outbreak. Kita nak predict whether outbreak ataupun tidak outbreak minggu depan, contohnya. So, using machine learning techniques. So, ini antara applications in machine learning techniques where I've mentioned just now. If you have a target variable, you can opt for any supervised learning. In this case, we use a support vector machine, we use decision tree, we use several other machine learning techniques to find the best model that can be used to predict the dengue outbreak. So ini contoh di dalam dengue disease. You can also apply the data mining techniques in banking sector. So this is using logistic regression, also predictive analytics. You can predict the personal bankruptcy. Ni antara contoh lah. Kita boleh predict using logistic regression whether this particular customer is apa nama ni, bankrupt ataupun tidak. Macam-macam teknik yang kita boleh gunalah dalam area yang pelbagai. In water quality, environmental health, kita boleh guna the predictive analytics to predict the water quality. Okay, ini contoh yang pernah saya apply, and we can also predict the water quality we can also classify. Ini classification, using classification, several methods, several techniques like KNN, support vector machine, neural network, decision tree, dan macam-macam techniques. And also in tourism sector, we can use the data mining techniques to predict visited to the total protected area. This is one of the projects yang kami buat dengan Sarawak. So we can predict from this model, we know lah which protected area yang lessly visited by the visitors dan sebagainya. So banyak teknik yang kita boleh guna. And also not even in educational data mining, we can use to predict the students' performance using a decision tree. and even to predict the students drop out. Masuk sampai semester ke berapa dia akan drop out, 4 or 5 or 6, and what are the attributes that contributing to the students drop out in higher institutions. So you can apply all these data mining techniques. And also in road accidents injury, boleh guna ya untuk predict kemalangan if jalan straight dengan kenderaan jenis apa, suasana pada waktu itu, time-nya malam, midnight dan sebagainya, what are the characteristics itu yang menyumbang kepada it is minor injury or major injury or serious injury. So using data mining techniques, we can produce the rules or the pattern from the data of accidents yang kita ada to learn using the machine learning and come up with the rules and say that if the road accidents will occur, lead to a serious injury if the vehicle types is blah blah with the road blah blah blah. Itulah rules dia panggil. Okay, ini antara contoh yang di-apply lah. Dan my current progress is in dengue disease where kami buat sistem untuk predict the dengue outbreak with IoT punya platform lah. Now let's look at the application in the library service. Alright. Ni dia. Kalau dalam library, banyak sebenarnya data. Sangat banyak. So we talk about directed data mining. We talk about undirected data mining, right? Oh sorry, this is text mining. Saya typo error. This is not undirected. This is text mining. Ya, kat bawah ni. This is for unstructured data. This is for unstructured data, right? Kalau directed data mining, among the application is contoh kita nak tengok demand analysis and forecasting would help library authority to determine optimal level of library stocks. Management of library service, library resources and network to predict correlation between book borrowed items. Identify readers' need based on circulation data. I think circulation data is very important. There's a lot of things that you can do using the circulation data. Period dia, time dia kan. And you can formulate statistical model, prediction model to predict and estimate your book borrowing rate, the book availability prediction model. You can model the patterns of patrons, books borrowing that influence the patrons' academic achievement. These are antara contoh-contoh yang boleh menggunakan directed data mining, mana-mana techniques under directed data mining. Whereas if you want to identify the patterns or do clustering or look into relationship between the items, between the books, you can use undirected data mining, like the association analysis, market basket analysis, clustering, K-means dan sebagainya. Antaranya is patterns identification for inventory loss, mining patterns book loan data using association rule and clustering approach, classification of book publisher and identifying department needs. Because kita perlu, kadang-kadang kita rasa macam fakulti tu kecil, tetapi tak semesti, tapi I mean the borrowers tu walaupun bilangannya tidak sebesar number of borrowers from the big faculty, it does not reflect the importance of that particular department. Tetapi kalau kita tengok kepada ratio dan look into the using the data mining techniques, kita boleh lihat the department needs. Sometimes the ratio, the rate is higher than those yang coming from the big faculty. So you can use also this undirected data mining to tengok dia punya patterns of library users. Ini sangat-sangat important. You might mine, tengok dia punya behavior, library you punya users and analyze the most frequency prescribed useful document. Dalam undirected data mining, we have text mining yang banyak kita boleh guna untuk library database lah. Okay, ini proses yang saya dah terang. I think I don't need to go through detail on this step. Saya just letak, just to remind, if you want to embark on this any analytic project untuk library, boleh follow ini ya. You boleh follow lah. Macam yang saya kata ni, saya dah terangkan detail lah dalam data preparation, development, evaluation. So saya letak juga orang-orang yang diperlukan di dalam setiap step ni. Kenapa saya kata perlu kombinasi of different team member from different area tu sebab ni lah. Okay, alright. Ini yang saya tengok dari source daripada previous study. Ada kenapa dia kata the cyclical relationship between data mining and library management, because data mining ni diperlukan. You want to know what should be purchased. You need to add new books or new magazines. And who is reading? You are using the circulation data. Where are profits? Looking at the transaction. So this data mining is very important lah dalam melihat kepada relationship with the library management. So if I could collect some of the attributes yang quite important and also I think relevant for you to apply in library services. For structured data, you can use your patron data, you can use your book data, circulation data, your student records data. Okay, so for patron data, among the attributes are patron barcode, patron type, faculty, total number of book checkouts. These are structured data that is measured in a standard form of structured form. Okay, kalau book data, you can use item barcode, title, author, catalog date, ISBN number, last check-in date, last checkout date. All those important. You might say last check-in, last check-out, but there's further attributes that you can create from this last check-in and last check-out. The duration tu you boleh tengok berapa lama student spend time untuk baca dan sebagainya. So there's a lot of analysis that you can do from this data set. Total times checkout dan sebagainya. Circulation data, patron barcode, item barcode for currently checkout items. Student records, sangat penting because sometimes you might also want to predict the frequencies of borrowing and all other variables in with the students punya grade, students GPA dan sebagainya. Okay, so it's quite quite interesting for you to collect safely, store data ni supaya you can perform the analytics, data mining analysis. For unstructured, you may scrap data, post in social media, okay, data dalam Twitter account, Facebook of academic library, comment, so that you can run the text mining, sentiment analysis to look into the sentiment of your customer, suka atau tak suka dan sebagainya. And you can also analyze your documents, videos and audio videos using unstructured data. Okay, menggunakan unstructured punya, menggunakan text mining di dalam data mining. Alright, so ini several kajian lah, bukan yang saya publish, tetapi saya cite daripada few articles yang I think quite relevant. Yang mana dia contoh di sini is mining patterns book loan. Saya lebih masa dah ke? Okay, masih banyak lagi. In this study, dia mine and analyze patterns book loan. Saya kata tadi patterns data tu quite important because you can study the patterns usage behavior. Okay, you boleh tengok dia punya usage behavior. Dalam kes ini, dia melihat kepada the categorize the characteristics and book lifespan and subcategories, and dia menggunakan association rules and clustering. Okay, so dia modified data-data yang ada and dia use dia sesuaikan with the association analysis and clustering analysis. And another example is predicting book availability. Using a machine learning, you can also predict the availability of the book using any machine learning techniques. There's a model yang proposed by this particular author. So dia menggunakan teknik random forest, support vector machine and ANN, artificial neural network, to predict the availability of the book. Okay, so semua data-data tu sangat penting lah sebab boleh diguna pakai untuk you lihat apakah yang you boleh analyze, and from the finding it can be used to make decision to store more books supaya ada apa nama ni inilah ada backup kan. And then predicting important features for book borrowing rate. Ini yang saya kata tadi. What are the features of the book borrowing rate? Ini pun dia guna predictive analytics to predict and the important features untuk book borrowing rates in academic libraries. Okay, so ini pula contoh prediction and estimation of book borrowing using machine learning. Ini dia menggunakan teknik radial basis function neural network. Dia menggunakan neural network, a bit advanced neural networks to predict the book borrowing. Same target variable, sama macam previous tadi tu juga. And this is an example of undirected data mining techniques where the author explore where they perform clustering analysis using the to reinforce in reinforcement learning for personalized book recommendation. Ini yang saya kata dia personalizekan book to be recommended to the customer using clustering techniques. So ada banyaklah cara, banyak kegunaan dia. So dia menggunakan hierarchical reinforcement learning component to find the clusters of book borrowed by the customer, so that from the findings they will use it to recommend to that particular customer with the same characteristics. Itu maksud dia dalam kajian ini. And ini pula dia menggunakan big data analytics to classify classification of book publisher. Dia tengok book publisher pula ni. Okay, you can do this to look into several the book publisher. Apakah kategori yang boleh you lihat by using this decision tree results. Okay, ini association analysis. Contoh saya ambil sedikit. Mungkin you nak tengok macam mana output yang digambarkan oleh this undirected data mining using association rules. For example, you have a set of transaction. Transaction is your customer punya transaction lah, borrowing books. And each transaction is a set of items. Setiap item is the transaction. Book 1, book 2 borrowed, book 3 borrowed, book 4 borrowed dan sebagainya. So you lump all this data set, you analyze it using association rules. Some using the market basket analysis, where you analyze the frequent books borrowed by each items berulang-ulang kali. Then from there, the association analysis will compute the confidence, support dan sebagainya, yang mana you can come up with a conclusion where from the results you can say, like for example, 30% of the transaction that contains book 2 and book 5 will also contain book 14. Dia boleh jamin, nak kata 30% daripada transaction semua ni, your customer yang pinjam buku 5, 2 akan pinjam buku 14. So you have that confidence. Dan 5% of transaction contains of all this. 30% is your confidence level. Dan you yakin 5% daripada semua transaction yang ada ni memang mengandungi ketiga-tiga buku ini. So ini yang dikatakan the association rule. So from this, you can buat recommendation lah. You can personalize, form a recommendation for your customer. So with this association rule, you can produce lots of value of confidence and support dan sebagainya. You can use it to satisfy your user's specific minimum support and minimum confidence constraint, and can be used to generate recommendation. So this is an example of application of association yang kita nampak dalam data in library system, yang mana dia find the association di antara buku lah. Using book circulation record. Sebab tu saya kata book circulation data tu is important. Dia tengok matching dia tengok subsequent rule. Dia ambil buku ni, dia pinjam yang ni akan pinjam buku ni. Kalau mana-mana yang pinjam buku ni akan pinjam buku ni sebanyak 78%. Dia confident that if the students pinjam buku S1G2, dia akan pinjam B1 dan B2. Maybe kalau dia pinjam buku machine learning di dalam library, dalam engineering, machine learning di dalam automotive, dia akan pinjam buku machine learning di dalam mathematical punya area. You faham tak? So itu maksudnya. So you can look into the association between these items, and it helps you actually to nak letak rak pun, itu antara benda dia jugalah kan. So it helps you to look into this rules dan make decision for better to enhance your library management. Ini pun dia guna association rules juga based on a priori algorithm, sama association rule, association analysis, tetapi a priori algorithm. Dia banyak algorithm di bawah association analysis. There's a lot of algorithm. further algorithm yang kita boleh tengok lah. Ini dia punya count, cara dia kira gunakan a priori. Ini masih lagi teknik yang prediction. This is yang saya kata personalized learning tadilah, based on cluster. Daripada cluster kita boleh clusterkan juga books. And ini text mining. Last but not least is text mining. Saya tak banyak tengok yang mana text mining ni. It's just you scrap data, you analyze, but you can do sentiment analysis based on unstructured data. Okay, unstructured data. Data daripada documents, daripada comments, websites, daripada Twitter, Facebook dan sebagainya. Audio, videos dan sebagainya boleh dibuat menggunakan text mining. Alright. So, last but not least is challenges in adopting big data analytics or data mining techniques. So, kita tengok dalam 4 perspektif. Of course, we can say as a challenges, but if kita tengok dia dari sudut yang positif, it can be our strength, it can be a strength and it can be opportunity. So, kalau kita tengok strength, big data, implementing big data analytics would enable you to make data-driven choice regarding the collection growth, references, and information service. It can increase user experience. Bila you can propose, recommend, personalize books to a particular customer, you will increase dia punya happiness lah kan. You lebih dekat dengan customer you, and the user experience pun of course you will gain better experience. You provide better services because you understand better dia punya needs and preference of your customer. So that would be the strength of implementing this and big data analytics. But of course, there's also a weakness lah. In order for you to apply this, there's a weakness in terms of infrastructure that enable you to apply this big data analytics, or even digital literacy among librarians or library employees, and lack of fund, of course. And that is among the weaknesses that you might face in implementing this big data analytics. But there's always an opportunities out there, right? Government initiative memang sangat-sangat encourage kita kan to increase, banyak initiative by the government to increase the technology access and digital literacy sampai kita boleh access to the cutting edge punya reference yang sangat ni lah sekarang ni. So sangat rugilah untuk kita tidak grab this opportunity. And another opportunity is availability of data analysis. As I mentioned before, there's a lot of software freely available out there that you can use to embrace your digital collection and analyze it and allow your librarian to better understand your data yang sangat banyak tu kan. Rich data tu macam gold sebenarnya kalau you know how to use it. And the opportunity is you can collaborate with other universities or research institution that is capable with the high-end punya analytics. So kalau kita boleh collaborate, then kita will have a better access to the most cutting-edge punya reference sources. But threats pun ada, of course, bila kita involved in this big data analytics. Weak data security procedure will expose to private customer data in danger. So banyaklah, especially untuk yang unstructured data tu, bila sometimes kita tak sedar orang scrap data tu daripada you punya database, dia scrap je macam tu kan online dan sebagainya. So data privacy tu sangat jadi loose lah sedikit kat situ. Dan bila kita depends on the software dependence ni, it will restrict you how you govern your data and your operation. So the privacy tu dah jadi less stringent lah. So itu antara challenges yang kita akan face lah, yang saya nampak, yang saya dapat daripada few articles as well. And then but there's a recommendation kalau kita nak into this, kita yakin kita boleh because memang banyak opportunity yang freely available. So put effort to train librarians, send out your librarians, your staff member in a big data analytics for certification, for training dan sebagainya. Send out. Let them learn analytics skills dan sebagainya. Explore a chance to collaborate, yang saya kata tadi, associate with business punya institution dan sebagainya. And make appropriate infrastructure upgrade lah infrastructure, technology investment, kena invest lah kat situ untuk infra and also technology. And enhance your patron data privacy and security pun penting, privacy and security pun sangat penting. And betul, sangat susah nak implement this big data analytics. It might be difficult, it might be challenging, but I believe you can use staged strategy. You can start with a simpler initiative and then you progress more with sophisticated techniques one over the time. Okay? And then yang penting sekali is to get in touch with your customer. Kalau kita boleh jaga kita punya customer needs and preference, I believe itu tak ada masalah lah. Slowly kita adopt the stage strategy like what I've been mentioned before, and by PTA, they have the mobile apps which is I think is quite ke depan dan sangat bagus. It's just that maybe boleh tambah sedikit more on the analytics later to enhance the apps to provide more information to the customer on the analytics part. So with that, Alhamdulillah, thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Wan. Panjang lebar tadi dah explain kan.
Okay.
Okay, so I hope with this session actually dapat bagilah kata a few information kepada sesiapa yang belum memahami apa itu konsep data mining lah. Alright, so I will take this opportunity, Doctor, to read all the questions in the chat box for you.
Okay.
Alright, there's one question from our participants here is from Sufi Rabia. Alright, Doctor, one objective for one DM process or can run more than one objective. For example, if you need to see the pattern or also prediction.
Okay, Dr. Sufi, Dr. Sufi Rabia Adawiyah. Okay, thank you for the questions. Yes, you can have more than one objective, but you have to run the process. I mean, following the process completely for each of the objective completely. So maksud saya dalam defining the goals and objective, you can put your goal 2 or 3 goals, but make sure the goals mengikuti keseluruhan the flow of the process. Faham tak maksud saya? Maksudnya, first you nak predict, first you nak identify the pattern, but in the data process, understanding the data, you have to understand what are the data that is needed to achieve your first goal. And for the second goal, you want to predict, you want to do prediction. So in the second stage, you also need to understand the data needed. Is it available to perform the prediction? So it must go through the process, the 6 stages completely. Does it answer your questions, Dr. Sufi?
Is there any Dr. Sufi here?
Yes, I get it. Thank you so much.
All right, welcome.
Okay. All right, next question, Doctor. All right, so from Nick Nur Fatin. All right, Doctor, in practice to predict something, how long is data is needed? How long is data is needed? Is it monthly data for 10 years? What is your recommendation?
Okay, before I answer question by Nikno Fatin Fatiha, let me respond to Associate Professor Dr. Faiz Izwan. Very interesting using tourism destination. Yes, Dr. Faiz. It is very interesting application in the area of tourism because when we do this project, sangat banyak finding yang kami nampak. And when we presented the findings to all national parks di Sarawak, ke semua wakil-wakil national park and yang ada, they are very happy to know that dia punya park ni need to improve on what area because we perform the decision tree, so we present the rules yang menyebabkan park itu tidak ramai orang datang untuk visit. So memang sangat interesting lah, and it can be applied in any area as well. Okay, Dr. Faiz. So saya respond to Nikno Fatin. To predict something, how long the data is needed? Is it monthly data for 10 years? What is your recommendation? prediction ni can be you can use monthly, you can use daily, you can use yearly data. But if yearly data ni sangat sikit lah kan, kalau yearly data tu the number of observation tu terlalu sedikit. Kalau nak kata how long, susah nak kata rule of thumb tu. Kalau macam nak kata 400, 300 tu less than that tu, ada juga orang apply the machine learning techniques, the algorithm, and they equipkan dengan another techniques that is suitable for machine learning algorithm with small size of data. Dia macam tu. Macam kalau 10 years, kalau monthly data for 10 years, I think is enough for you to use to do prediction. But for 10 years observation, for 10 years data, it's only 10, so it is not enough lah kalau you nak guna machine learning, because in machine learning, in data mining techniques, normally kita nakkan validity. We partition your data before you do your modeling. You partition your data into training and testing. You want the learners or the algorithm to learn from the data. So if your data set is small, then how can the machine learn the behavior of the data? Kalau 10 observation, you partition 70-30, 7 observation, dia nak learn the fluctuation, the behavior tu sangat sedikit lah. Okay. Alright. I can see that there's 2 questions from Nur Fatih. In practice, to predict something. Okay. Okay. What software is the most effective for using data mining techniques? What software do you prefer? Okay. So there's a lot of software. You can use R, which is freely available, Python. Okay. You can use software yang dibuat oleh certain university yang juga free, but the software yang you have to pay, like RapidMiner. Kalau yang you nak lebih advance, you have to pay, but for yang basic tu tak kena bayar. But I think the best I would propose is to use Python and R. You can use SAS, but SAS kena bayar, alright? You can use Weka, you can use RapidMiner, Orange. There's a lot of software out there. There's a lot of software. Okay.
Okay, next is from, I'm not that sure who is it. Okay, how far the scammer can use DM?
Scammer. You mean, I don't really understand the question. How far the scammer can use DM?
Yes.
You mean how far? I'm not quite clear with the questions. Does it mean with how far the scammer can penetrate the results from data mining process, or how far the scammer can use the data mining software without paying, or what is the questions? I'm not quite clear with the question. So kalau soalan dia berkenaan dengan sejauh mana scammer boleh guna
Mungkin data
mining.
privacy kot, doktor.
I see, data privacy. Okay. In terms of data privacy, normally kalau kita nak buat data mining, okay, if you want to run any analytics projects, of course kita tak lari daripada research ethics, right? If I could try to answer this question, we have to go through the ethical approval, especially even though you are not using data that involve human. Still, if you are using data, secondary data, you are scraping data from a certain organization with that needed authorization from that particular organization, you have to go through the ethical approval. Sekiranya data itu adalah sensitif untuk organisasi tersebut, then you need to have kelulusan etika daripada mendapat approval daripada organisasi tersebutlah, then you can use the data to perform your analytics projects. And normally when you get the approval, when you run the analysis, your output, the findings, your publication should be shared together with the organization yang you dapat data tu lah, and it must be agreed by the organization as well. I mean, the finding, how you generalize, how you make conclusion out of your findings must be agreeable with the organization that you obtain the data. So that is something yang boleh saya respon kepada soalan tersebut lah. Tetapi in terms of scammer yang scrap data from readily available information or data out there, itu memang kita tak boleh nak buat apalah yang tu. Sebab dia ada yang tidak memerlukan kelulusan, because data tu publicly available, so dia boleh analyze dan gunalah. Okay.
Okay, ada lagi daripada Nuraina Daud. Dia kata based on my previous analysis using DM, 3 months data pun dah mewadai. Tapi
Yeah.
kita juga bergantung pada perbezaan data for one
Yes,
particular business matter.
yes, I agree with Dr. Nuraina Daud. You can use your 3 months data is enough. You can use 3 months is enough if it's daily data, weekly data is enough.
Alright, there's one question from Sufi.
Yes.
Alright, so in your view, if PM itself can be a research method in PhD research, include all the data, cleansing, filtering, and etc. in the data pre-processing in process script DM.
Okay, Dr. Sufi, the CRIS DM, the cross industry standard process of data mining is actually a standard process. It's a standard process used by all analysts or data analysts to run any analytics projects. Yes, it can be a guidance for you in your PhD research, but in terms of contributions, when we talk about PhD research, you need to have contribution to the body of knowledge, right? So if your proposed methodology is the CRIS DM itself, then I think it cannot be your contribution for that particular, for your PhD research. It must be something that is enhanced in terms of the methodology following the CRIS DM at somewhere in the stages, kat mana-mana stage tu yang you propose to enhance or to do, like in terms of the methods of filtering, for example, you if the existing methods is doing this method A and B, but you are proposing to enhance using method A combination with another techniques D and F and so on and so forth in that particular steps, that might consider as your contribution of your PhD research. But the CRIS DM per se methodology steps is a standard process. Okay, Dr. Sufi.
All right. Is there any other questions from the participants? Ada tak questions daripada participants? Okay, tak ada. Maybe kita boleh closing lah, Doktor.
Alright. Okay.
Okay, alright. Alhamdulillah, thank you so much. Kita pun telah sampai ke penghujung PTA Research Webinar kita pada hari ini. Okay, terima kasih kepada yang telah bersama kita daripada pukul 10.30 pagi tadi. Terima kasih kepada kami atas sokongan semua. Alright, daripada situ kita dapat concludekanlah collaborative teamwork between librarians and other experts sebenarnya in academia ni akan orang kata bring to the future direction of the data mining lah. Alright, so mewakili pihak penganjur, pihak kami ingin memohon sikit data baik daripada semua partisipan, alright, untuk buka kamera. Alright, so kita ada sesi fotografi sikit bersama speaker kita. So I hope sesiapa yang boleh untuk buka kamera, untuk on your camera lah, so that kita boleh ambil gambar. Dia ambil gambar kan?
Mr. Hazri tolong. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. Okay. Okay.
Sudah ke Del?
Okay Ayu, so minta hadirin semua isi link kehadiran
Alright, so don't forget to ada kita punya link kehadiran untuk jam latihan untuk staff YBhg. Alright, dia ada letak kita dekat chat box. Alright, jangan lupa ya. Alright, so terima kasih sekali lagi kepada semua yang terlibat pada pagi ini, kepada pihak penganjur PTA. Alright, terima kasih juga yang especially kepada Prof Madya Dr. Wan Fairos Wan Yaacob atas kesediaan beliau untuk orang kata sama-sama berkongsi ilmu pada pagi ini lah. Alright, so ada banyak kita new terms yang kita belajar pada hari ini lah. Untuk itu sekian daripada saya, Siti Rohayu binti Mohamad Yusof, mewakili pihak jawatankuasa program, memohon ampun jika orang kata terdapat kekurangan atas penganjuran ini, insya-Allah akan diperbaiki. Yang baik itu datang daripada Allah SWT dan sesungguhnya yang kurang itu baik datang daripada kelemahan diri kita sendirilah. Sehingga berjumpa lagi di program yang akan datang. Jangan lupa kita ada lagi, maybe ada lagi kita webinar research in the session yang lain. Alright, do check out them lah. Alright, so wabillahi taufiq wa hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Jangan lupa jam latihan.
Terima kasih semua. Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam.
Okay. Thank you everyone.
Moderator, thank you Dr. Wan Fairos. Sangat memberi inspirasi. Sangat good sharing. Thank you Doktor.
Welcome. Del, link tak boleh nak isi. Peserta maklum cakap tak boleh nak isi link. Thank you Dr. Puan Siti Rayu. Thank you Del. Thank you everyone. Assalamualaikum.
Kita dah link, double click.
Okay.
Masih tak boleh Del, link tu?
Masih tak boleh.
Boleh isi dah ke?
Masih tak.
Dia keluar
Masih
macam
tak